Welcome to a special edition of Stories of Brisco and Bradshaw. As always, I'm John Layfield, better known as Bradshaw, joined by my WWE Hall of Fame partner and colleague, Mr. Gerald Brisco, and we've got a
Wait a
terrific
minute,
guest.
John. What do you mean? As always, you're John Layfield. You different name for different
I
people or
could
what?
be, yes. You're interrupted.
I'm
This
sorry. I'm
this
sorry.
this is what happens, Brooks, when you do something with an Okie. You know this
Okay.
being from Iowa. We're
Yeah.
joined by a great stand-up comedian today, a good friend of Tutter Williamson, a good friend of our show. Live in Alaska is his stand-up special. It's terrific. You can check it out on YouTube. Entry level is his podcast. But most importantly, he was the homecoming king of the Boone,
Oh,
Iowa High School. That's why he's here right now.
Yeah,
He's the
sure. Yep.
homecoming
that's
king.
why it is.
Yep.
Mr.
Yep.
Brooks Wheelen. Brooks.
Dubuque, Iowa, right? Is that where?
Yep. I'm from Dubuque, Iowa, from Dubs. Yeah, I grew up wrestling there and watching you guys on TV, man. It was sick.
All right. Wow. As an amateur wrestler, I mean, me and you with John was one of those round ball guys,
Oh yeah.
like, dribbled the
Football. I
ball
didn't
those
play
hard
round
courts.
ball. It was football. I didn't round ball.
Well, that's close enough, man. Anyway, he's from Texas, so he don't know what wrestling is. I forgot my damn question. But anyway, you're growing up a wrestler there, and,
Yeah.
and you're watching pro wrestling there. Was there any conflict with your friends, or were they all pro wrestling fans too?
I mean, yeah, I'm 38, so Attitude Era was like peak, sixth, seventh, eighth grade. So it was everybody loved it. We were all
Yeah.
in. It was no better time to be a seventh grader than yelling "suck it" down the hallways, man. It was the best. It was the best.
Yeah. Did you ever? I'm sure you're one of those guys that did it, man. Did you ever get in trouble over
Oh yeah, we all had the DX suck it shirts, and they would make
that?
us turn them inside out. They're like, you can't have suck it shirts. We're like, at some point they gave up. I think it lasted like maybe a month where they were like, you can't wear the DX suck it shirts. But then once everyone was wearing them, they're like, just wear the shirts. Fine, we don't care anymore. We broke them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, DX contributed to the dereliction of America's youth. It was absolutely wonderful. It's
Dude, it was crazy. The stuff that was going on, like Val Venus, they chopped off Val Venus's penis in that
Oh,
one.
Yeah,
that's
really.
right. On air, they chopped off his penis.
Ah,
I was in,
yeah.
I was in like sixth grade. I was like, this is good. This is crazy. It was
was
nuts.
Yeah,
good.
I was coaching, I volunteer coaching a high school wrestling team at the time, and I tell you, Brooks, sometimes we'd walk into a gymnasium, everybody would stop because they knew we were coming. Everybody would stop and do sucking at the same time. It was funnier as hell till the
Yeah.
coaches started getting on me. And well, my guys are doing it. It's your guys that are doing it. Yeah, but they're saying it from your show there.
Right. No, it was great, man. Yeah, no, there was pro wrestling and amateur wrestling, like they go together real well because we all love it. We understand,
Yeah.
we love just wrestling. And then doing a warm up, you're going to give somebody the stunner. It's great.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'd walk in, before the practice would start, and all the kids would be in there like pretending they're hitting the ropes, coming off, drop kicking, giving flying mirrors and all that stuff. The guy, they, come on, guys, just give me a break. I'll get in trouble with the coach if you guys keep doing that stuff.
Well, we were doing it in Iowa and we didn't have any WWE Hall of Fame coaches. It was just every wrestling room was doing that in America.
That's awesome.
And then Mr. Brisco here he is, one of the tough all-American, all-century wrestler from Oklahoma State. He and his brother, two legendary, the Brisco brothers, and he has an evening gown match with Pat Patterson in the middle of the Attitude Era while he's
Good.
coaching a youth high school.
That's awesome. Where did you coach? What town in Oklahoma?
Well, I was actually in Florida. I moved to Florida after I got out of school.
Okay.
I'm saying, yeah, well, of course, everybody leaves.
Basically,
Oklahoma.
Brooks, anybody who has a
It's kind
car,
of like Iowa,
anybody who has a car leaves Oklahoma as soon as they can. That's why
I
there's
get
no
that.
cars in Oklahoma, because if you have
Right.
one, you're going to leave.
Yeah.
They even wrote a song about me called Tulsa Time. I left Oklahoma driving in a Pontiac. That's how I left Oklahoma, man. I was trying to get out of there.
That's
Hoping my car wouldn't break down. I just bought this used Grand Prix Pontiac, man. I was hot shit, man. I come back from Australia, I had a little wad of cash in my pocket, went down. I couldn't buy a new one, so I bought me this used Pontiac. The guy didn't tell me it had been wrecked, so I'm headed down the interstate, headed down to Oklahoma. I'm still going about 70 miles an hour. All of a sudden, I hear the whoop. boom, boom, boom. I look up and my vinyl top had ripped off the top of my damn
Oh.
new used Grand Prix monitor. So I just get out and I rip it on off so it wouldn't, keep flapping in the wind like that. So I pulled in a new job with a Pontiac Grand Prix with the vinyl top ripped off. Must have been real impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Actually, amateur wrestling in Iowa and pro wrestling kind of go together for me in my head because Seth Rollins like grew up
Right.
like I don't know 50 miles from me in Davenport, and
Yeah.
I love any people from Iowa love other people from Iowa, so I love Seth Rollins, but like I was always mad he didn't wrestle amateur in high school because he was into pro wrestling already. I was like,
Yeah.
no man, I could have had like a win over Seth Rollins. That would have been sick.
That's
Yeah,
right.
wouldn't that
That's
be
right.
great,
Yeah.
man? What did you have a win over Ryan Morningstar?
Oh no, I don't have a Morningstar beat me in the state finals one year. Ryan
Wow.
Morningstar has won, I don't know, he won 3 high school titles and like 6 AAU. He's an All-American. He's a coach at the University of Iowa now. Never beat Morningstar ever. I think I'm like
Uh,
12 and 0 and 12 against him, but we had
oh,
a couple close ones.
yeah. So
Yeah.
how did you get into amateur? Was your dad a coach or how
No,
you
my
just
so
kind
my
of
my mom's brothers were state champs in Missouri, and then we moved to Iowa, and then my brothers wrestled, and by the time I was 3, I started wrestling too, and I wrestled all through high school, and I didn't wrestle in college because I went to the University of Iowa, and I wasn't good enough to wrestle there. But my brothers wrestled in college, and they're coaches now in Iowa.
were you guys under Brands or Gable?
It was we were there for I was there for Zaleski, and then Brands came in halfway
Zaleski.
through.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Coach Jim. I really like Jim.
I
I
love
got
Jim
to
Zaleski. Yeah.
I got to know him real well when he was out in Oregon, Oregon State, there, I believe it was.
Yep,
And
yep, he went there afterwards. That dude
yeah,
ruled. But yeah, just grew up like amateur wrestling is my favorite sport in the world. I genuinely love it so much. I still
mine
follow it
too.
really
Yeah,
closely. It's the
yeah.
best. It's so hard. It's so hard.
And your brothers,
I've actually got Layfield kind of like him amateur wrestling too. He'll watch it with me.
I like it very much. In Texas, we had two sports. We had football and spring football.
Right.
And literally, they wouldn't have wrestling because they thought the kids wouldn't play spring football. That we didn't have baseball or wrestling because they wanted the kids to play spring football.
It makes sense. But like, so the difference between we're from Oklahoma and Iowa, like wrestling, amateur wrestling is kind of like a poor person's sport, really. You don't need anything. So I was like, small rural counties
Yeah,
like thrive on that stuff. So it's just like we
yeah,
got nothing else to do. We don't have enough people to play actual football.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
football's
said
tough.
something that really makes sense. It's a small county of football or a sport. I mean, the smaller the county, it seems like the better the damn high school wrestling team is.
Yeah, you got nothing. You don't have enough people to like put together a good team sport. So you're like, let's just get really good at this individual stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
we
And you
had
also
guys that
need
played 8-man football. I mean, that tells you.
Yeah.
you also need all the equipment. Like it's like a lacrosse. It's a very expensive to play football because you need all the equipment. You need 22 players. That's why wrestling. Mr. Briscoe does a lot with native kids. He's a Chickasaw native. Does a lot with native kids with wrestling and for the same reason because it's so much easier access to go out to have a wrestling match than it is to have 22 players and all the equipment and all the stuff you need for football or something like that.
No, totally. Yeah, it's great. I really love it. I mean, I also am bad at football, so I do like wrestling more because of that.
And you say your two brothers are coaches?
My oldest brother, like he dabbles in coaching, but my middle brother is the head coach of West Des Moines Valley in Iowa. He just moved there. He went from Waverly Shell Rock, which they won like 6 titles when he was there. And now he's building up West Des Moines Valley. The dude rules. Him and Morningstar coach together the Iowa freestyle team.
Wow.
It's so impressive when we go to where Mr. Briscoe is the chairman of the board of the Waterloo Iowa Sports Hall, the Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Dan Gable
Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
my brother started off coaching at Waterloo West, which is where Gable went.
Right. And it's so impressive meeting Dan Gable. I've met him several times, but every time he gets up, they introduce his record. He never lost a pinfall, never didn't lose a point in the freaking Olympics.
I mean, that dude is the most inspiring person I've ever like.
Yeah.
I've seen, I went to all his camps growing up, but I was like 5 listening to Dan Gable, and I was like, like that guy will get you to run through a wall, man. That dude is crazy good at motivation.
Yeah, Brooks, it's really cool. We bring in all these Hall of Fame professional wrestlers. You know, some pretty accomplished guys, and they're like they mark out when Gable gets up and talked, and when he's finished, they all look at me. We didn't know he respected professional wrestling. And I said the guy's a wrestler. He respects all forms of our sport. There, you know,
Yeah.
that's what makes Gable so good. You know, and so easy to get along with. But he's quite. Have you drank any of Gable beer?
Oh yeah, of course.
Of course,
Yeah.
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 I OD'd on Gable Bear. Nearly died in Waterloo a couple of years ago. John saved my life.
Yeah.
John,
No. Waterloo will do that to you. That's where my parents live. Waterloo will get you, man. It'll sneak
yeah,
up. I've been to that. I've been to that museum so many times. They used to have, I think there's a little back room where they have like amateur wrestling practices.
yeah.
There
There
is.
is. They have youth wrestling camps in there all the time.
Yep.
Which they really use that. That's what that museum's really inspiring a lot of people because of their youth wrestling program. And Coach Gable gets out there and works with those kids just like they're them Hawkeyes. I mean,
I mean,
they're
dude, he gets after it. Yeah. I mean, I remember in dude, so he coached these guys, the Brands brothers, and I was at this summer camp where Gable was talking or some nutritionist was talking, and I was in fourth grade and I was talking too much. I was like whispering to the kid I was with, like I'm in a freaking wrestling camp just screwing around. And Terry Brands took off his shoe, and I'm in fourth grade, so I'm 9, and threw his shoe as hard as he could at me, and it smoked my brother in the face to get me to be quiet. And I was afraid of Terry Brands for the rest of my life. I'm still really, really afraid of that guy.
I don't
There,
blame you. Yeah, just watching him on the mat, I always thought ESPN or whoever's covering the event, Big Ten Network, should put a camera 24/7 on Brad while he's sitting on that sideline there.
those guys are intense, man. Yeah, they're super
Yeah.
intense. I hope that they can chase down Penn State, but it's not looking likely.
Well, you got a new kid on the block, not a new kid, but an old kid that's refreshing Oklahoma State with the Coach Taylor
David
there.
Taylor, man. David Taylor is going to save college wrestling. I'm not even joking. We needed somebody to step up and take on Penn State because if you don't know, Penn State is the most dominant dynasty in college sports right now. They've won, I think, like 11 out of the last 13 NCAA championships, and they're far and away ahead, the lead. Like it's a race for second. And David Taylor is freaking crushing it at Oklahoma State right now. And I hope in 4 or 5 years he can take down Penn State. I'm a huge
Um,
Oklahoma State fan now. I never liked Oklahoma State. I hated them. I was a huge Iowa fan, but now that David Taylor's there, I'm all in. I freaking love
Great.
Oklahoma State now. Yeah, I have Oklahoma State gear.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. Well, that's good. No, I'm a cowboy, as you know, so I appreciate that. You know, we got to get you there at the museum, Brooks. I mean, you'd have a ball, meet some of the old timers that we had this past year. We had APA there. We had John and Ron Simmons both there. You would have loved talking
yeah.
to those
I
guys.
mean, I will time my visit back home to when it is next year, and I'll definitely go.
Or July 9th, 9th, 10th, 11th, I believe is the weekend.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll go. I'll just also Iowa in the summer rules. In the winter,
Uh,
worst place in the world.
That's right. That's right.
yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. I broke in Minneapolis with Brad Reingens, who was a Greco-Roman world champion about 1980. Would have won the gold medal, but that was when President
Boycott.
Carter had boycotted. Yeah. And I was up there for the summer, and they told me, said, leave before winter. And
Yeah.
that was all I could
You,
think is I'm getting out of this place before winter.
I mean, you guys have toured through there in the winter. It's just abysmal, dude. It's the worst. Like Midwest in the summer is the greatest place in America. And it'll trick you into thinking it's a good place, but it's not. It's bad. You got to get out of there.
We had a
Yeah.
Well,
great time.
speaking of getting, go
We
ahead.
we had a great time there the last couple of times. We went to the Field of Dreams, right there, which is just past Waterloo, Iowa. It was
Yeah,
really
I
cool to
built
see.
houses. Yeah, I built houses in that town, Dyersville, Iowa. Actually, we would drive to Dyersville to buy beer because that's where we wouldn't run into anyone's parents.
Smart kids. I didn't know you were that smart now.
Yeah, yeah. But we were like, we got to get out of here. We're gonna have somebody's parents walk into the Casey's we're buying booze in. We got to get the fuck out of. We got to go to Dyersville. We don't know anyone in Dyersville.
That's better than what we had to do. I grew up in Blackwell, Oklahoma, which is 9 miles from the Kansas border, and we used to have to hitchhike to Kansas to get our beer. So we'd
Oh,
have to hitchhike nine miles up, 9 miles back.
Wait a minute. You hitchhiked to get beer?
Of course we did, man. When you're 16, 17 years
So
old, you
then
get
you-
across a border at 18, man. You're going to hitchhike anywhere you can get. 9 miles, John. That's a hike nowadays.
yeah.
So then you're hitchhiking back with like a 16-year-old kid with a 6-pack of beer?
With the case, we're not a six pack, John. We go all the weekend because you couldn't do it. So you would six pack, you'd drink six pack on the way back 9 miles. You know, hell, you can drink it. So you get each time you get a case of beer, and then when Colorado Coors beer come out, we had a friend that lived in Colorado, right on the Oklahoma border with Colorado. Well, as a fraternity guy, we'd take somebody's car or truck, go up and load it full of Coors beer, drive it back to Oklahoma State, and sell it for like 3 times for what we paid for it.
Yeah.
It was a good business going on back in those days. We're bootleggers, John.
Wait, Brisco, I have a question for you about amateur wrestling in Oklahoma State versus Iowa. Do you obviously remember when Leroy Smith and Randy Lewis wrestled off to get the 84 Olympic spot?
Yeah,
Was that because from Iowa, I was all Randy Lewis, and I'm sure you were like,
right.
"This is bullshit." Leroy Smith's getting hosed.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, did you wrestle with any of the Smiths?
Well, no, they were all much younger than me. Even Leroy, who was the oldest. Leroy's a dear friend of mine. Leroy's actually the big boss man of the National Hall of Fame there in Waterloo and Stillwater.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just didn't
But
know because
there's all types of controversy about Randy Lewis, and of course Smith always thought Gable was behind
yeah,
the
yeah,
politic in there.
yeah. That was
So,
that. It created bad blood for 30 years.
well, yeah, I think there's still bad blood between those two. Too.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure. But I just mean Oklahoma State, Iowa. Like, dude,
yeah.
I remember like I was at an Iowa Oklahoma State duel in Carver in Iowa City, and like we were booing John Smith so deeply that he like turned around and flipped the crowd off, which was as a like it's full pro wrestling, man.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it's a total heel move, and it ruled. I was like, it made me like John Smith. I was like, this dude's flipping off me. I'm 8, and he's giving me the middle finger. I was
great.
like, I
And
love
the
this
coolest
guy.
thing that happened, the coolest thing that ever happened to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's why I like amateur wrestling, man. These coaches are bonkers. They're throwing shoes,
Yeah.
they're giving you the finger, they rule.
Yeah, they're so intense in that corner, man. And I just love it for that. And like I said, man, watching Brad, watching Smith, and Taylor's just one of those laid back coaches, that really don't get excited
Right.
on the outside, but
Dude.
Inside they're turning.
My brother has 3 boys, and I went to a wrestling tournament last time I was in Iowa, and they're all 3 wrestling at different time. They're all like it was like 8th grade, 6th grade, and 4th grade. So he would always go coach which one of his kids was having the tougher match. Like he knows that they're going to be tough. So he'd be like, go coach Lincoln, because he knew he would probably win. So that day I went like 9-0 with my coaching abilities because I was they were wrestling all the easiest kids. So as a coach, I have an undefeated record with my nephew. So it's pretty good. It's exciting.
Wow, that's great.
Tremendous.
Also read during the research there that you were quite a baseball player. You found out you were the best baseball player in the city, but your dad was the coach.
Right. Yes. It's a joke that I didn't know I was bad at baseball until my dad wasn't my coach anymore. Had no idea. Truly thought I was great at baseball. Played first base and bad at third until my dad wasn't my coach, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not doing that anymore." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." Bad at baseball.
The rivalry is so strong between Oklahoma State and Iowa. Mr. Brisco, what he's talking about, he had a Dan Gable beer, and he looks at me. We're in the bar there at the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
and looks at me. He says, "Call 911. I'm having a stroke." And he was. His eyes rolled back in his head, and he passed out. And I said, "Oh my God!" And thank goodness one of the guy's wives behind him caught him. He's covered in sweat, and the ambulance gets there like really, really fast. They got him on a gurney. He's not responsive at all. And I thought, oh my God, this is way past serious. And as they're carting him out, he hadn't said a word. I leaned over to him. I said, "Mr. Brisco, don't you die in Iowa. You know how embarrassing that would be." And for the first time, he opened up his eyes like the Undertaker, and he goes, "No shit." that kicked him out. And the guys with the gurney are like, "What does that mean?" I'm sorry, guys. There's a little rivalry here between the two.
Yeah. Dude, I can't that would be crazy if Gable took down another Oklahoma State legend.
That's right. Gable Beer killed it. Didn't just beat him, it killed him.
It killed me, yeah.
Speaking of beer, dude, there's this place right down the street. I live in Echo Park in Los Angeles. There's this like real like progressive poetry / art house thing called Stories Books, and it's a great bookstore. And the one beer they have that they sell is Stone Cold's beer.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just love having a Stone Cold beer like in this like lesbian like art house thing. I'm like, hell yeah, Stone Cold
Do
would
you
love this.
crush it though?
Yeah, it's so great. I'm just so
That's
happy that
awesome.
it's like all my favorite stuff right there.
Oh
We were
wow.
sitting backstage one time, me and Ron, we wrestled early, and there's a bunch of beer there. And there's always beer in the dressing room back in the day, so it wasn't unusual. So we're sitting there drinking the beer, and then they go, "Hey guys, where's Steve's beer for the last match?" We realized we had drank all his beer. So we're like, "Oh shit!" So we just, we probably should leave. So we
Right.
just left.
That's so funny. That's great. Like, so when Stone Cold would go out like back in the day, he was slamming. Those are how many beers would he be take out there when he
Oh,
would do
he
his like
would
final
drink
thing?
a ton of beer.
Cases and
He could
cases,
down
man.
beer like you wouldn't believe. I mean, he
Yeah.
could
We
booze.
wanted to get the guy and trying into Hall of Fame that threw him the beer. Mark, who was that?
Mark Mark
Mark,
Eaton. Mark Eaton.
yeah, Mark Kidd. Yeah, he had the best arm. He could hit Stone Cold anywhere in the arena with a can of beer.
Dude, that was so impressive. Yeah, his catching ability with those
Yeah.
tosses. That was sick.
And what was so cool about it, you'd see Steve backstage. He'd come by and we're doing some stuff one time on Saturday night's main event or something, and he comes by and he's drinking one of his beers, before the show, and it's just there was nothing unusual about it because it was Stone Cold. It's like
Right.
nowadays you do something like that, they're going, dude, you're going to get fired for that. It's like with Steve, it's Steve.
You
Yeah,
need another one.
you get grandfathered in if it's your thing,
Hey, I saw him down in Texas one time. We're at I think Waco, the Heart of Texas Arena, and he's sitting backstage talking to a bunch of cops after the shows, and he's had seven, 8 beers or something like that, sitting there drinking beer. Finally, he grabs a beer and gets in his truck, opens it, and he goes, "Well, guys, I'll see you later," and drives
Yes.
off. And I'm like, what? There's like Nolan Ryan, Earl Campbell, and Stone Cold could do that in Texas. That's that's about it. And they're like, "See, guys," they're like, "What a good guy." I'm going, that's a felony. That's actually that's something wrong with that. If I
That's
do, you arrest me.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, he's in his element. He's in Texas drinking. That's so sick. That guy rules.
He was
So
the best. He was always
who
that way.
was
He was always the exact same way. I mean, him. I've never seen a guy become a bigger star. When business was not very good until Steve got hot, and then when Steve got hot, any building you put his name on, we sold out that building anywhere in the world. He didn't change a bit. He was exactly the same guy. Just want to sit around and drink beer and rent a car for $12 a day.
Right.
That
I
was his
remember
goal. Was
I went,
I go,
yeah, I mean,
you're actually like a really big star. You don't have to rent these like manual transmission cars if you don't want to.
I went and saw a house show. The first WWF show I ever saw was a house show in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I remember I bought a Stone Cold VHS there. Was the on the cover was him bleeding out while Bret Hart had the sharpshooter on him or something like that, super zoomed in shot. And it was like, $30, like crazy merch markup. And I left it at the Five Seasons Center at my seat, and we were like 10 minutes away, and I freaked out. I was like, we have to go back and get my Stone Cold VHS, and like had to beg to let me back in, and it was still on my seat. And I wore that tape out, man. I watched that over. It was sick. That was such a good one. And also, that's the first time I found out what a house show was. Like, because we went and watched it, and it didn't even compute that there were no cameras, and I wanted to, or that it wasn't Monday, and and I was like, oh, when can we go watch that back on TV? And my brother's like, what are you talking about? That was not on TV. I was like, what? Yeah, it was great.
house shows were so much more fun back in those days too than the TV shoots because you just had to sit around and wait all day for a TV shoot. But the house shows, the guys could try different things, and see what really worked. It's kind of like you guys when you go to a smaller audience on your comedian there, you can kind of just
Absolutely, yeah.
play around.
It was the main event was Kane Undertaker in a cage match. It was awesome.
We were
Yeah,
in
John, you might be telling us that we're down in Kuwait. We're at this Sheik bought 5 shows in a row in the same soccer arena every night. One night to be 20,000 people, next night to be 200 people there. Because he filter in and out his friends and everything. So during the week, everybody's picking on me. John picking on me, Ron picking on everybody. Everybody. I'm sitting out. I was the agent at the time, so I had to set out close so I could write my report. So Stone Cold had been picking on me all week. John, you want to take over
Sure.
here?
So the Sheik had like, well, one night be full, but then like one night be like just his family members. So he'd be like 200 people. He'd pay I mean, when the attitude, middle attitude area, everybody's hot. He got all the stars. He wanted a 3 hour show, but he paid for it. I mean, we got paid a fortune to come over there, but some nights it was literally just his family in this huge arena, barely filled up ringside. But he wanted a full show, so we gave it to him, of course. And so Steve is out there, and Steve goes by and kicks Mr. Briscoe, and Mr. Briscoe grabs him and chicken wing suplexes him on the floor. And we're all sitting there going, that's our mortgage. That's our car payment. That's the hottest guy in the world right now. What in God's name have you fucking done?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God. And Steve rolls like 40 yards back to the dressing room, rolls down the
He
ramp.
does a dead man roll for at
Yeah.
least 50 yards back
Yeah.
to the back. And the
Suplex
whole
Steve.
time I'm thinking, how am I going to explain to Vince McMahon I just hurt Stone Cold Steve Austin?
For 40 people.
That's right,
Yeah.
for 40 people in Kuwait.
All right. I have another amateur wrestling, pro wrestling question. It's a story I've heard that Lesnar was coming, and I don't know how true this is. Him and Angle actually did a wrestling match one time. This is what I've heard. Like, and of course, Angle was, Lesnar's great, but Angle is the best. That Angle tore him up. Like, is there validity?
Yes, there is. We tried to stir this up for months, because when Lesnar came in, I remember Kurt Hennig was sitting there when Lesnar walked in, and he took one look at him. He goes, "That's what Hitler had in mind." Oh my God, that's the superior race.
That's what Mr.
Like,
Perfect
oh my God.
said.
Like if the aliens come to invade us, we're sending Brock out there.
Yeah.
He beat their ass back to Mars. And so
Yeah.
Brock comes in. Brock's just freaking massive. Kurt is this gold medalist. So we've got to figure out, we got to stir this up. Finally, we got them to go at it, and they go at each other. And there was rumors that it was real quick. It wasn't that real quick. Kurt did get him, but
Right.
it wasn't a fight. It was a wrestling match. Kurt did get him. And when he did, Vince threatened to fire the entire company. He's like, those are my future WrestleMania main event.
He was screaming at me. Vince was actually screaming, Briscoe, get out of bed. I knew what was going on because they'd both come to me, Brooks. They both come to me and said, what do we do? And I said, if you guys really want to do this, I'd call any high school wrestling coach or college coach in the world, and they'd welcome you guys into the wrestling room for an hour and have this thing out. Don't let the guys win. Of course, the guys, especially John, they just kept pestering. So I'm in the back of a meeting with Vince one time, and we're in, of all places, we're in Fargo. So those amateur juices are really fun.
Yeah,
Because Fargo is well known for being the amateur wrestling capital of the world.
Yeah, it's where the high school national tournament is in the summer. Fargo, like if you win Fargo, you're unbelievable.
You're a stud. So we're all in Fargo doing our TV there. So that Brock and Kurt both have memories of fame in Fargo. So the guys are on them. Finally, they all right, we'll go. So I'm back meeting with Vince. All of us said, Briscoe, you better get out here. Your boys are going at it. And I look at Vince. He give me that death stare, man, the stare that you don't want from Vince. So I run out the arena. Here's all the guys packed around the ring. It looks like a main event on Saturday night.
We're watching the wrestling match of the century. This is the greatest thing ever. Ever.
Yes.
And so they're going at it, and Brock's trying to bully with the side, trying to bully Kurt around and everything. Kurt's ducking under and all this stuff. The wrestling ring is only 18 foot. So when either one of them would shoot, the ropes were right there. If the rule was you get to the ropes, you had to break it up. So finally, Kurt caught Brock, boom, real quick with stuff. Okay, that's one fall. Let's go 2 out of 3. No, guys, give it up. And so here comes the second one. It goes another 3 or 4 minutes. They're backing up, pushing each other, bullying each other around. Kurt ducked under him and waist locked him down for another 2 points. Kurt wins 2 straight falls. Well, I think, man, this is over with. Nobody got hurt on safe. So I get in the back and I see Vince Come here, Brisco.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man! I got my ass chewed so bad that day. Like John said, why are you letting my two main stars, our future of this company, go out there and possibly hurt each other? That's the dumbest thing. You've done a lot of dumb things, Brisco, but that's the dumbest thing you've ever done. I'm sorry it won't happen again. They got it out of their system. Well, good. Don't ever let it happen again.
Vince threatened to fire the entire company. The entire he's gonna fire the entire company over that. All
But
he
like,
can see is dollar signs going out the door if one of those studs got hurt.
but those are two apex wrestlers that like of course they have to. The world heavyweights, like they
Yeah.
had to do it. You
They
have
had to,
to.
yeah,
They had to. Hey, you could see them. It was so cool. You could see them eyeballing each other, for like months, like just checking each other out,
Right.
going over some spots and stuff. You could tell they both wanted to go.
Yeah. I mean, wrestling's really fun if you can wrestle somebody of your ability. Nobody has those is that as at their level. So it's fun when you have somebody at your level. That would be so fun.
Ken
Like
Shamrock.
John always said, well, Brock was the best in the United States had to offer, the very best in the country. He said, but you look at Angle, he was the best in the entire world. There are 20 billion people couldn't
Yeah.
be Kurt.
I mean, yeah. Plus, Angle was an NCAA champ too. Then he won the
Yeah,
Worlds in '95 and
yeah,
the Olympics in '96. I mean, dude, he was like an all-time great United States wrestler. Like
Yes.
Brock won. I think Brock only won one NCAA title, which is
yeah, yeah,
so many.
yeah,
One more than everybody. But yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I remember watching Lesnar lose to this guy Stephen Neal, who ended up
Oh
being a
yeah,
world champ. And that was like because it was Lesnar, it's the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life. And Stephen Neal's like the returning NCAA champ, and it's like, what's gonna go on here? And Stephen Neal's like, oh, he's Braga's a good wrestler, but there's just like you could be a world champ. Stephen Neal was a world champ the next year. It's insane to know that somebody could be a little bit better at wrestling than Brock Lesnar because he's so big you think nobody can
Right.
beat this guy.
Yeah, because you
Also,
look at
Stephen Neal
Brock.
was a three-time Super Bowl champ too, right?
Yeah, I think he won. Yeah, Stephen Neal won like a bunch of Super Bowls, like
Yeah,
3 or 4 for the Patriots.
Patriot. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
and,
guy,
and, and Brock just decided to quit wrestling for a while and pro wrestling and go and win a UFC championship. I mean, the guy's just a freak of nature.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, he was so scary. I mean, because he wrestled for Minnesota when I was peak. I would have been in like seventh and eighth grade. I remember he wrestled Wes Hand. Wes Hand was Iowa's heavyweight. I was a huge Wes Hand fan, and I think he beat Hand like it was close. It was. I remember thinking Hand got hosed. Maybe it was like an overtime call or stalling. I don't know, but I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like this guy is beatable. I didn't think it was possible with how he looked.
Yeah, Mr.
Um,
Briscoe's the one that signed Brock out of college. Him and
oh really?
Benjamin. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Robinson and I were teammates together. We're in the same recruiting class at Oklahoma State, so that's how I knew that group up there.
Dude, that's insane. J-Rob
Yeah,
was like the man growing up. Like, if you went and did J-Rob's intensive training camp, it was like 28 days in Minnesota. You came back like a man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I sent my son up there, my oldest son up there for a 28-day killer intensive camp up there. He called me about halfway through it. He said, Dad, you better come and get me or I'm going to punch somebody and get kicked out of here. I said, Wes, before you punch somebody, you better make sure it's the right guy because everybody up there is just like you. They're tougher.
Yeah.
So punch
That's,
the right guy at least.
dude, that's awesome. How long did it take like Lesnar, since he came in with all this wrestling acumen, like, how long did it take him to like jump onto like the main roster?
Well,
Like,
that's a great story too, Brooks. We said we got a package deal because when Jay called me, he had Brock there and he had Sheldon there too. Who
yeah,
really killed it. Probably the best athlete that ever worked in the WWE was Sheldon Benjamin. Well, best overall athlete ever was probably Sheldon. But Jay told me, he said, Briscoe, I got you a package deal here. My salt and pepper team, Brock and Sheldon. I said, great. So we sent them down to Jim Cornette, down in Iowa or wherever the hell that Smoky Mountain, their
Ohio.
OVW camp was, Ohio at the time. So about 6 weeks into probably about 6 months, not 4 or 5 months into it, I got a call from Sheldon. Brock wouldn't call me. They were getting ready to leave, and they said, Briscoe, it's like you know the routine, and John does too, being a football player. You practice against the JV all the time. That's the level you're going to be. He said, we know we're ready. We know we're ready to get that next level of instruction, and we can't get it here. Either Sheldon told me we need to move up, or Brock's going to leave, and I said, well, we can't have that happening, you know. So, of course, I called the office and I gave them the story. The next week, both of them were promoted to the main roster. So they're probably 4 to 6 months before we brought them up to the main roster, and neither one of them knew. Neither one of them were ready. And
Right.
once they got up to the main roster, they knew they weren't ready. So, but Vince really did a really great job of just bringing them along and putting them in the right situations and developing their skill set. So
That's dope. That
yeah,
rules. My other favorite my other favorite good wrestler, awesome wrestler that went in is Nick Nemeth. I
yeah.
freaking like he was rounded 12 at the NCAA. I love that dude, man.
Held the
Yeah,
pins record.
and he's another guy, a teammate of mine, Tadaki Hata, just went in the Hall of Fame in Stillwater a couple of years ago. Hata was his high school coach there at St. Ed's in Cleveland, and he called me. He said, "I've said he went down to Ohio Valley. They told him he wouldn't make it, so I want to introduce you to him." So I brought Nick into Cleveland that night. Of course, Nick, you know, he just had his hair done. He had a big pompadour, Elvis type haircut, combed all back, all bleached blonde, 3-piece suit on. Looked like the kid was smart enough where he looked like $1 million when he come in there. So
Right.
Vince was walking by. I said, Vince, I want you to meet somebody. Set the all-time pen record at Kent State University, and he's trying to become one of us now, and he's having trouble. He said, hey, go tell JR to hire him. So I went to tell JR. JR said, well, if you think he's good enough, we'll hire him. So we hired him right there on the spot. So Hada, another teammate, got me Nick Nemeth on my resume.
Yes. Dude, I
Uh,
loved that he might like yeah, Rollins and Dolph were like my two faves. I like because like I love amateur wrestling and I like dudes from Iowa.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
call.
shut you off here because we got you on here because of your career as being a comedian. Here, all we're talking to you is wrestling here.
Well, I'm asking you guys questions that I've always had. I've always
Hey,
wanted to
Well,
know.
that's fine. You can ask us
well,
whatever you want.
yeah,
I,
if
I
you
did
got
I
more
did
questions, go
commentary
ahead.
for years, and I got to call most of Dolph's matches, and I never saw him have a bad match. He's one of the best professional wrestlers I've ever seen.
I love him. He's the best. He's a friend too. Like I met him backstage at WrestleMania, the one in New Orleans, and like he loves comedy.
He
And so we
loves
have
comedy.
mutual yeah, we have mutual friends and like it like blew my mind. Like it was before WrestleMania started, or maybe it was the opening match. They had some like Andre the Giant, like Royal Rumble before WrestleMania. Do you remember this? Or anyway, some bullshit. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, they had like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is what they got.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And like he got thrown out, and I was all pissed, and I was backstage for him, and he was just talking to somebody, going, "That fucking sucks," and he'd already he was already like, "Oh yeah, whatever, that doesn't matter. How's it going?" Like I was like, "No, you should be mad. You should have won the Royal Rumble."
What was that tonight? Brock got his streak broke in New Orleans at WrestleMania. Was it?
It might have been. I don't remember exactly. All I remember is I had really good seats, and I was sitting next to Dana White because
Yeah,
Ronda Rousey had come out.
yeah.
It was like her first big match or some shit, and Dana White's like bodyguard kept like I was literally sitting next to him, and his bodyguard was boxing me out of my own seat, and I was like, dude, I do not care about Dana White at all. I really love professional wrestling. Stop touching me. And the dude like totally, he was like, I'm actually sorry that you're right. This is your seat. I go, get the fuck out of here, man. So that's all I remember is just
Yeah.
battling Dana White's stupid bodyguard for most of the WrestleMania. Because it was long. This is before it was 2 nights. It was long that night.
Oh, brutal! They were brutal. I had to call a bunch of those. I did commentary, and we got 5 hours. It
Yeah.
was insane.
And then I remember Taker came down. It takes Taker what, 5 minutes to get in there. Like my girlfriend at the time was like, "What is this?" I go, "It's just what happens, man."
Yeah.
Especially the stadium entrances where he has to walk, 50 yards.
Yeah.
God, oh my God. When
No,
I would
it was great.
wrestle him, I wouldn't have to warm up, before the match. I warm up during his entrance.
You mentioned Dolph's love for comedy. He wanted to be a stand-up comedian when he left WWE. Not only him, but Roddy Piper used to go out to L.A. and at the comedy club out there, and kind of sit backstage and get to know you guys, get to know your routine. lot of our guys, Stephen Regal, Lord Regal. He's one of the funniest guys in the world. I went to a comedy show he did over in the UK in Birmingham, England, and it was one of the funniest things. His dry English sense of humor. But why do you think wrestlers and comedians like that always kind of filter together and get together? It's a hardship of the road, or what do you think
I
it is?
mean, I think like it's like pro wrestlers like dudes good on the mic are fast and quick and they're writing, that's stand up is just being good on the mic. And so there's like a shared like I'm just, like dudes who can cut great promos. Like I'm just like, damn, that is a great that dude would kill at stand up. They're so fast. And then I'm sure guys who, professional wrestlers who are, working on the mic are like look at comedians being like, that's sharp, that's like concise to the point. So I think there's a shared like love of entertaining people.
I've always thought the same thing. I've always thought, because people ask me, how do you describe a professional wrestling match? How much is scripted? How much is not scripted? And I've always said the easiest way to describe it is two really good stand-up comedians that they get out there. They may have several ideas about where they want to go, but you got to see what the crowd wants. And then
Yeah,
you go that direction. And it's a matter of feel at that point.
totally. I remember I saw Nick open for another dude who's just good at talking, McFoley. He was
Yeah, yeah.
fascinating. I went and saw their show. It was great. But yeah, I mean, just good promos are I honestly like, if you're hurrying through a like a Monday Night Raw, I'm just watching the promos, fast forwarding the match, getting back to the promo, who lost, who won, sick. All right, let's see what's on the mic. It's I love the
Hell,
promos.
you would be our writer's best friends because we used to go to them bitch about the wrestling time. Well, the wrestling they only got 4 minutes and they got 10 minutes for a promo. Well, my friends like wrestling. Well, my friends like the promo, so you're backing up our writers there. So
Right.
you guys stick together.
I mean, I worked on Saturday Night Live, and that's like very similar to like a Monday Night Raw, where
Right.
it's like you're
Yeah.
cutting and you have like, hey, initially, I remember the first weekend update I ever did. It was like 3 minutes. I had like 3 minutes, a 3 minute weekend update, and I was working on it with my friend Michael Che. And after the run through the dress rehearsals, like 2.5 hours, then we have to cut it to 90 minutes for the live show. I got a note that's like, hey, you're still gonna do your update. It didn't get cut, but you have 90 seconds instead of 3 minutes to do what I thought was a 3 minute joke. Like I was like, there's no fat in this. And Che, because he does stand up too, was very helpful when I was like, dude, we can't cut anything out of this. And he was reasonable and he was like, nah, we can cut some stuff. That's fine. We can figure this out. Which I'm sure you have a ton happen with wrestling matches where you're just like, all right, you guys got to get this over in 6 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, the Saturday Night Live and Monday Night Raw are probably two of the closest hybrid things that you could probably compare each other to, because we get up there, you got a set amount of time, and I used to run the gorilla position there, time out the matches, make sure the show ended on time, and their crossover segments and all that were right. You guys have the same issues on Saturday Night Live. You want to be crossing over at the bottom of the hour, the top of the hour, and all that stuff, and you got two great talents. All right, yeah, you guys were scheduled for 9 minutes. Now you got 6 minutes.
Yeah,
Cut. Where are we going to cut? Well, that's your job.
Or
that's
it can go
exactly
the other way. You have 9 minutes, now you have 12.
right. I found this out one time. I wasn't in the show, and I was pretty upset. Like it's really, I'm sure pro wrestling's exactly the same, where you're not in a show and you're like, why am I even here? Fuck this place. You're just so mad
Yeah.
that you're not in the show. You're like, I came here to be in the show. I could go do this somewhere else and actually get to go up. Like, so I was really mad that I wasn't on the show that night, and I was just drinking in the dressing room, like not even watching the live show. It was just like, I don't know, watching MTV or something, like the real world. And I found this out. They were down there and they needed some extra time. And somebody pitched, we could just have Brooks do 5 minutes of stand up to close the show. And I didn't know that till Monday, but I was told Monday and I was like, thank God I was wasted. Like they would have just came and grabbed me and I would have been like, I got to do 5 minutes stand up on Saturday Night Live. And that's when I stopped. That's when I realized it was like my third episode. I was like, oh, you can't drink if you're not in the show because you're never not in the show. Maybe like they might
Right.
just be like, go do some stand up really quick. We're flailing. Which looking back, I'm like, I wish I had that 5 minutes of stand up at the end, but I didn't know that could happen. Which is very similar where you're like stretch this match or whatever.
Yeah, John's been put in the same situation, Brooks. I mean, in between shows, you're doing the switch over, the change over, and all that stuff. Vince will walk up to John. John, we got 10 minutes. Go out there. Here's a microphone. Go out there and entertain these people.
Literally, he
Wow,
just have
what,
it
what
with nothing
a
to say. Just said, John, you got to kill 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. You go
That's
out there.
that's the reason a guy like John Rock and those guys that could outlive Mick and all those guys were so good because they could go out there and they could outlive that 5 minutes. To say you say one word, you kind of get where the audience is going with them. So John and Rock and those guys were masters of that time fill thing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I love it. That's so fun. That's why I think like, pro wrestling and stand-up comedy it's the circus, Like we
Yeah,
just
Right.
appreciate
yeah.
some good dumb fun.
Right.
How did you start in your comedy career? Were you considered funny when you were in school, or what
Yeah,
was it?
I loved Adam Sandler. Like I really loved Adam Sandler's perfect age for him, Billy Madison, and Saturday Night Live was like my favorite show. I lived in Iowa and I just would watch it all the time. And so I was like, I remember reading a book about Adam Sandler that said he got on Saturday Night Live by doing stand-up comedy. And so I was like, oh, I'll do stand-up comedy. And that's how I'll get on SNL. And I started stand-up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at Penguins when I was 19, and then moved to Kansas City, moved to Chicago, then moved to LA when I was 22 and out here to do like just doing stand up, but also had a day job as an engineer because that's what I got at the University of Iowa, an engineering degree. And like things just started going well out in LA, doing all like the weird alternative rooms. And then 4 years later, I got hired to write at Saturday Night Live, and then they put me in the cast, and it was really cool. But then I only did one season on the show.
Did you ever run into a couple other wrestlers? Al Franken and Jay Moore were both wrestlers
Yeah.
that love
I
wrestling.
mean, Jay Moore is the best. I love Jay Moore a lot. I know Jay, he's great. And I met Al one time. I look up to Al. He was really nice. But I was at the show one time with my girlfriend in like on a Saturday night on a taping, and like Al Franken, like I had done this sketch called Little Buff Boys that made it through the show, but didn't get on. Made it was in the show, but cut for time for the live show, so it wasn't on the live show. And Al Franken came over. This is when he was a senator, and he was like, "Hey man, you got really hosed with that Little Buff Boys thing. That's real dynamite or whatever." And my girlfriend was like, "Where?" I was talking to him, and she was like, "Oh, where do you live?" I go, he famously he's a Minnesota senator, so he probably lives in Minnesota or DC, and he was just really he's the best. He's great.
Yeah, Al's a great guy. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan with Al a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Watched him do his comedy. In fact, we got mortared one time somewhere up north of Baghdad. I can't remember where it was. And he was handcuffed. He was dressed like Saddam Hussein. And he was doing his skit. It was really funny. And we get mortared during the performance. Well, I've never been mortared. I've never been in a war zone before. They go to the bunker. I go, I don't know where the bunker is. So I'm following all these people running off stage, and I'm behind Al Franken dressed as Saddam Hussein, handcuffed. And so we get down in the bunker, and the guy with the handcuff key is in the other bunker. So Al's sitting there handcuffed the entire time, dressed as Saddam Hussein. We're like, I'm not sure if we're going to live or not, but I'm in better
No.
position than you are.
Yes, that's great. That's insane.
That was fantastic. Yeah. I told him, I said, Al, I don't know who's going to win this war right now, but if our guys win, you're in trouble. If their guys win and they find you like this, buddy, you don't know
No,
you don't want to
this
know
is
what's going to
bad.
happen to
This
you.
is bad. That's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be at all. That's crazy. Yeah, Jay's the man too. Jay's good at wrestling. Me and Jay have the same thing that Brock and freaking Angle had, whereas we're
Right.
both not that good, but good enough to I'm like we both feel like we could take the other one. Like that's our mini
Yeah.
version of that.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
what's great about that is when
he tells a story about who was the big guy that Candy
Chris Farley.
Chris Farley get taking him down.
Yeah, I think he took down Farley.
He got
Yeah.
Farley in the end. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He got Farley. He got Farley in the end. It's a great
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. So yeah, and then after post SNL, I've just been touring around doing stand up and then writing TV shows. So it's been it's been chill. And then, getting in and like getting into wrestling and then kind of, like I feel like a lot of people my age who are fans, I'll like go on streaks of it. I'll get in for like a year or two, then kind of fall out, but like always peripherally kind of paying attention to what's going on in wrestling, especially like with my buddy Nick, always watching what Nick's up to, stuff like that.
Yeah, Nick is so freaking talented. You told
Yeah.
us a great story before we got on air about going through the Grand Canyon, 230 miles.
Oh yeah,
This is
yes.
also, I love the adventure stuff.
Yeah, so I just like camping a lot and getting out there and doing some crazy stuff. It's why I didn't go to that Saturday Night Live 50th. It wasn't like I didn't go to it not because I was like mad or anything. I had just had I've gotten this permit. My friend got won this permit to float the Grand Canyon, which is really hard to get. Like people try for years and years and don't get it. And I was like, I think floating the Grand Canyon will be better for my brain than being filled with anxiety at the Saturday Night Live 50th because that place does still stress me out. Um, but yeah, so we got permits to float the Grand Canyon, me and some of my professional skateboarder friends, and we lied about our experience so we didn't need a
Of
guide.
course.
Yeah, so we were like, yeah, no, we know what all this stuff means. We had no idea. And then we just pushed in Lee's Ferry, and then we had 18 days to get 230 miles down the river through like multiple class 8 and 9 rapids, which is
Wow.
really terrifying if you don't know what you're doing. And we didn't know what we were doing. And yeah, I went out once really hard and really thought I was like that was it. Like I was in the water way too long. Also, we did it in January, so it was snowing when we put in, and it was at the end really cool. But I would never invite anyone on it because you can like really die in there because
Yeah.
there's no way out. There's one way in and one way out. That's it. And so like I almost drowned 100 miles in and still had 130 more miles to go and was like pretty freaked
Wow.
out. It was pretty
What
cool.
what what happened? What happened? How did you almost die? What the
So I was with my other friend who's a skate filmographer, and neither of us had ever been in a boat before. So I don't know why we decided to be the lead boat. We wanted to go out in front, and so we could get footage of everybody going through this place called Crystal Rapids, which has this big hole in the middle, which is just a pour over where there's a big boulder that goes down, and then this back wave comes up. Basically, you want to avoid it. You want to avoid that hole at all costs. It's just if you go on either side of the hole, you're going to be all right, and it's right at the beginning of the rapid. And he was rowing and I was up front and I was like, dude, watch out. We're gonna go through the hole. We're headed towards the hole, but we don't know how to steer the boat yet. It's like our seventh day in the water.
Oh
And I
God.
was like, TJ, and then we go straight into it, and the boat flipped. Like we got so boat flipped, and we got thrown backwards, and then got sucked under the boat, which isn't where you want to be. And then had life jackets on and dry suits, and then we're floating down the river, and it was like a I don't know quarter-mile rapid, and it was class 8, which is huge, and I didn't have a helmet on, which was stupid, and I'm trying to keep my feet first, but I keep spinning over like going over boulders and falling. And so you hit the
Wow.
boulder with your foot that makes you go face first. And this water's going so fast. And our boat's coming behind us, and we grab the boat, but then the boat's like headed towards a boulder. And we can't pull ourselves up into the boat because we're getting sucked underneath it. So I'm just like dive. So we dive under the boat hits this boulder, bounces off. And since we were in the front, there was nobody there to pull us out. We were way ahead of everybody. So no one could pull us out. And then I realized like I was really cold because the water is like, I don't know, 40 degrees. It's so maybe 50. I don't honestly know. Cold enough to where you're not supposed to be in it more than 4 minutes with a dry suit. Like, and yeah, my limbs started to go like numb, and like had a panic attack and was like, all right, well, this is how you drown. And like then made a last ditch like sprint to grab a rock, pulled myself like up onto the rock after being in the water like 7 minutes and just started throwing up. And then I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. And my friends, all these guys, they had no idea like what we had gone through. They were just like calling us pussies and stuff until I was like, it's not funny. And I think they realized they're like, oh, these guys are pretty shell shocked. And yeah, we like took the day off the next day so I could just like lay by the fire. I had like hypothermia, and then just had to get another 130 miles down the river before we could get out and see people. And it was like it sucked, man. Turns out drowning is awful. Like I
Hell,
genuinely,
that sounds worse than Jay Robinson 30-day intensive camp.
yeah. I mean, I really thought like I don't know why I thought death might be kind of cool. It's not. It's really scary. It's so scary. And I was like, this is gonna suck. But I would do it again. But this time after that, I was like, we need to learn how to row the boats better. And we did. Yeah. So I just learned the hard way to freaking take it very serious.
And
did you have enough food for you had to take food for 18 days?
Yeah, yeah. It was an outfitter that like packed up our food for us and stuff. Yeah. So you had, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We're not exactly roughing it, but it's not chill either. Like we had um like steaks and stuff. And it was like, I don't know, it wasn't even that expensive really from the outfitter. It was like $1,500 for 18 days. Which I thought it would be more, but I was like, this is sick. I've spent more than $1,500 living in Los Angeles in 18 days.
Right.
So I saved money down there.
So when the boat turned over, you didn't lose your food or anything? Was it all secured?
No, yeah, you have to really strap it down. Each morning you're like really strapping everything down in case the boat flips. We lost on that trip, we lost 5 oars, like 5 oars snapped, and it was all on Crystal Rapid. Crystal Rapid just wrecked our crew. There was 9 of us. And so if you ever float down the Colorado River, just watch out of Crystal Rapid. It'll really ruin your day.
I'm sure there's qualifications on this for captains and everything. So you guys decided to go down one of the roughest rivers in the entire United States with zero experience, just about.
Yes, we lied about our experience. So we
Wow.
didn't, yeah, had no idea what we were doing.
So death meant nothing to you.
So
Yeah,
when you turn the boat in, you're like, by the way, all the oars are broke. We turned it over. Things all rigged.
Yeah.
They look at it like you're not getting your deposit back.
we did not get our deposit back. No, not at all. It was with like 8 professional skateboarders, and professional skateboarders want to die. Like they're crazy. And
Yeah.
I was like, guys, I like crazy shit, but this is too much. This is way too much. And they thought it was funny. I was like, it's not funny. This sucks.
And
How many
that's
boats?
almost as funny as when John and Bruce Pritchard, our friend Bruce Pritchard, brother Love, rented motorcycles over in Bermuda where John was living at the time. And Bruce was so bad that they wouldn't even rent him a motorcycle. So there was no pre-qualification for
Yeah.
you guys renting that
Yeah,
boat
so
going down
I
there.
rode with Bruce Pritchard, brother Love, on the back of a little scooter in Bermuda that's built for like an old elderly lady, and there's two big fat guys on it, and it was hot as balls, and that big fat Bruce is sweating all over me, and he's holding on to me because you're not supposed to have two fat guys on the scooter,
Right.
it's like Dumb and Dumber, it's like on this scooter, and he put his arms around me and sweat on me. Yeah, it was one of the worst days of my life.
That
I
sounds fun
wanted
as
to
hell,
die.
though.
I actually wanted to die. I wanted to go through the
Yeah.
Crystal Rapids. I wanted to turn upside down and die. And
Yep.
I wanted to see Bruce die first.
Yep. That's fun though, man. I just went camping through the French Alps this last weekend. I got back from Corsica yesterday, which was backpacking the French Alps is sick. If you ever,
That's
I don't know.
cool.
Yeah. It's
Where,
also
where,
it's real mellow because like there's so many, I don't need to turn this into a camping podcast, but in the French Alps, they build like hotels at the weirdest spots you don't think that there would ever be a hotel. So it's like, it's pretty chill. You can eat good food while you're up there. It was awesome. It was I liked it.
yeah, there's some pretty cool infrastructure there. It's like kind of trekking like to base camp, which I haven't done at Everest,
Yeah.
but there's some luxury trips now that look really cool.
Yeah, we didn't have to portage water, which is usually the hardest thing, carrying your water around. It was awesome. It was very mellow backpacking.
And you backpacked in Colorado, I mean, in California as well, and I've read as well. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I don't love Los Angeles. I like Los Angeles, but I love California for the nature aspects. Like I'm going backpacking through Yosemite next week, and I like Big Sur and Joshua Tree, and I like going down to Mexico. Just like being outside, and compared to Iowa, there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah, Tim Medvitz, who did climbed Everest and broke his arm climbing Everest in what's the old climbing Everest series, and still made it. Didn't tell anybody till he was coming down. He had to climb down the ladder and finally told somebody he broke his arm because they knew they'd pulled him off the mountain.
Yeah.
Tough guy, but he lived out in L.A. and he lived there because he had several 10,000 foot mountains around there that he
Yeah.
could go to and train. He loved living there.
Yeah, I know people bag on it. I'm like, I don't know, man. Nature's pretty cool. Like, I get whatever, but like, I like being this close to, Yosemite. It's sick.
Oh, Yosemite.
Brooks and John decided one year that he was going to climb the 7 peaks of the world there, and he got through. How many did you get through, John?
Three, got through three. Then I fell off a mountain and damn near killed myself.
Wait,
And done surgery.
what three did you do?
I did Aconcagua down in South America,
Okay.
highest mountain peak outside of the Himalayas. I did
Where, what,
Elbrus.
was that Chile or where?
Argentina.
Argentina? Cool.
Yeah, it's right there on the edge. We're right there on the edge of the two countries. You can actually
Yep.
see from the top
Yeah.
the ocean. And then I did Elbrus and a Kilimanjaro. Elbrus was the highest peak in Europe, even though it's in Russia because of the continental plate.
Yeah.
So it did that, and then Kilimanjaro down in
Dude, you had, I mean, that's gnarly cold. Like that's crazy.
Oh, I got stuck at 21,000 feet on Aconcagua. Two guys in the camp died. We were stuck up there
Wow.
for 2 days. It was the wind chill. I don't know what it was. It had to be minus 50 or 70. I couldn't even get out of the tent. It was so cold.
Yeah, I mean, literally last week I was camping outside Mount Blanc, which is like the highest point in the Alps right there. And that's only like 16,000 feet. And I was like, that looks so high. So
Blanc is
that's
awesome. Did,
nuts.
did you go? Did you go all the way up, or did you just go?
No, we only got we hung around like 8, 9,000 feet. Like
Sure.
we were chilling.
You got to go through that rock fall. I didn't go through it. I've been up to the high camp, but I didn't go to the rock. I got that rock fall. That's it's kind of a lottery. You gotta watch for falling rocks. It's kind of
Dude,
random dangerous. It's not like a
yeah,
dangerous that you can handle. It's a random dangerous that you get unlucky. You're going to come off the mountain with a rock in your back.
absolutely. They told me like 30 people die or 20 people die a year trying to climbing Mount Blanc, which is like not even a hard quote unquote mountain compared to the stuff you were doing. Like that's a lot of deaths, man.
It is. It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and people do it willingly. A lot of it is that first cross. You got to cross that area, that rock fall, and you got massive boulders coming down, and it's just a lottery. You,
Yeah.
gotta, you get unlucky, you die.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's crazy. You were gonna do all seven, so you were gonna go down to Antarctica and mess with that?
Yeah, I was training for the one in Antarctica in Vincent, and fell off of San Jacinto in right there outside of Palm Springs. I climbed it just for a training climb outside of Palm Springs. Took the little shuttle up to like 10,000, so I climbed the last 3,000 feet just for
Yep.
acclimatization and get some training in. And when I took like my selfie on the summit, I stepped on some black ice I didn't see and fell halfway down the freaking mountain. And
Jesus. How bad did you get hurt?
I had to have surgery on my back. I knocked myself out, and then I walked down the wrong side of the mountain because I was out of it, and I just gone up by myself and thought I'd take a quick trip up and quick trip back down, and then I fell and I walked on the wrong side of the mountain, and thank God the ranger had given me a map. I told him I didn't need it, but he gave it to me, and I looked at the map, realized I'd walked down the wrong side of the mountain, so I was walking into the wilderness, and I
Yeah.
had to spend the night. I had to climb back up the mountain and then come back down the other way and got down just after dark.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was it was not a shocking experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, have you ever been to Antarctica?
No, yes, I have. Yes. I went. I took a cruise down there from across the what is it the Ross Ice Shelf, the Drake Passage
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Ushuaia, South America, down to Antarctica.
That's sick. Yeah. I always want to go down to Patagonia, man. See Strait of Magellan. Be sick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so cool. The Drake Passage is miserable. It's like 36 hours of the roughest seas in the world. They got ships that are built from, but when you get there, man, it is like being on Mars or something, I would guess. It's
Yeah.
just a different world. You see the Antarctica and it's wild. I can see why there's so many conspiracy theories about Antarctica because you look at it and it just looks mysterious.
Yeah. David Cross was talking about doing a stand-up special in Antarctica. But he said the reason he didn't is because of the weather situation where you only have a 2 week period where maybe you're going to go, maybe you won't go. And they can't promise you'll come back at the right time because of,
Wow.
Drake's Passage is so gnarly.
That's right. Yeah, and the weather is so bad. You just don't know how you're going to be able to make it. But you did a stand-up special in Alaska though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. So that's what we were talking about. It. I was like, yeah, it was a bad idea. I should just do it. No, I love the special. I'm really proud of it and it worked really hard and it turned out really great. But like the making it was, I was like, why did I decide to do this in Alaska? And I wanted to do it in Alaska because I was like, let's go do it in Alaska. It sounds cool. But then once I got up there, I was like, oh, this is weirder than I thought. But it was really rad. I'm actually and yeah, check it out. It's called Alive in Alaska. It's on YouTube. It was New York Times like best special of last year. And I'm super proud of it. But it was cool. I'm headed back to Alaska actually to do some shows just because I like, I'm sure similar with pro wrestling, like you're in a cool place. You're like, all right, I'm gonna stay for a week, and if you can, and
Right.
check it out. Like using your job to get cool places is kind of what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're kind of like us. The airport, the hotel, and the arena or the club, and then it's reverse that back to the hotel, back to the airport, and out again. That's all we
Yeah.
knew.
I try to like to, not get burnt out by seeing where I am a little bit. Just, you get burnt out of the road so easily. And I was just like, so I try to make a point to like sightsee a little bit whenever I am there,
Right.
like let's go check out some stuff. Otherwise, I will just get drunk in the hotel room all day. That's not
Yeah,
good.
it's fun though.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun.
It's fun for a couple years
That,
and then it
that's
gets
right.
old.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it's also the other way around. It's like also like once you've been to Detroit 100 times, it's like, I really there's not much else to see.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, that's why I'm like, there's trips I'll take my girlfriend on, and there's other trips like she's like, oh, should like I had a weekend in Cleveland. She's like, is this one for me to go? I go, no, this is not we're not gonna be doing a bunch in Cleveland, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with Alaska, I'm like, yeah, man, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the cool part of it, especially to
Yeah.
stay a little bit extra because you got your travel paid for. It's all done, and you get to stay a few extra days and see some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing this show out on an Aleutian Island called Unalaska at this place called the Rat Saloon. And I'm like, that's all I want to do. I just want to perform at the Rat Saloon on an island. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like
I
a
was on the
great
Knack
place.
Knack River. I went up to salmon fish one time, and they're right by Katmai Park, and I had a bar there, like whatever it was. I can't remember what its name, but guys would come in and put their 45 mags on the bars.
Yeah.
They would check their weapons, because bear are everywhere. You got to have guns, to protect yourself. It's not for
Yeah. I
people.
mean,
It's for
right before I taped that special, I went down to Seward, Alaska, which is just right on the ocean there. And before I like do anything on TV, what I do, like, I don't know, back to old school wrestling or athletic ways, is I'll go run a half marathon, but the day before I tape anything, because it just works to like get any puff out of your cheeks or whatnot. It's like how I just kind of like, I'm like, oh, I'll go run 13.1 miles and then I'll look better tomorrow when I tape my thing. And I was like, oh, I'll do it along this trail in Seward, which is deep wilderness. And I was running with my headphones in for like 2 miles. And I was like, this is how you get killed by a bear. Like, truly, I'm running through bear country alone without bear spray and big headphones in. And so I just took my headphones out and like listened for bear for the rest of the run. But I was like, this is scary. I'm dumb. This is dumb. This is how I die.
Right. Yeah. When I was up there, I literally asked the guys, we went at the Brooks Falls, where the bears sit up on the falls and catch
Yeah.
salmon
Catch the
jumping
salmon.
up.
Yeah.
We're sitting there looking at it. I go, what do you, I mean, literally, what do you do if they attack you and you don't have anything? They go, well, you play dead. And I said, that's impossible. I said, dead men don't shit on themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm scared now and we got guns.
Right. Truly. Yeah. I was like, I don't have bear spray, man. I'm an idiot. Yeah. It was crazy. But yeah, I really like that special. You should check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, I was looking at a lot of it this morning. And how else can guys get hold of you, or how else can guys get what I live in Alaska? Is that the main thing that you have out there? That's
Yeah, that's my newest thing that I put
along
up.
with your podcast entry level, which
Yeah,
you get a
entry
chance to
level is
ask you
cool.
about.
Yeah, I do it more sporadically lately. I interviewed, if you have a comedian you like, I've definitely interviewed them on entry level. We just talk about all the jobs that they had before they did.
Well, what I saw that. What is the strangest job you've ever been told that one of your fellow
guests
comedians
had? What is the weirdest job I've ever? I don't know. I've done like 300 episodes, so there's just been
did? Wow.
a bunch of weird ones. I mean, I have Nick Nemeth on, and I forget what all he did, but he was pretty laser focused on getting into the WWE. So he was like, I think just pretty dialed on that. I don't know. I've had a bunch of shitty jobs. I was a cave tour guide. It's the worst job I've ever had in my life. In Iowa, it was awful. I can't recommend not being a tour guide at a cave more.
What cave is in Iowa?
It was called Crystal Lake Cave, Nature's Masterpiece, and it was an absolute fabrication that it was a masterpiece. It was just a hole someone dug, and then I was 15 and would just like be like, "Yeah, I'm sorry you got tricked. This place fucking sucks." And yeah, just a lot of angry tourists.
That's the best. You're the guide, and people are getting there and they're really disappointed.
They're so excited, and then it's an uninformed 15-year-old who knows nothing about the cave. That's like, yeah, there's no refunds. I don't know what to tell you.
No refunds.
Yeah, zero refunds. You're in the cave. It sucked. I've been trying to take that cave down for ever since I worked there. So that's I don't know, uh 20 years now I've been trying to get that thing shut down. Still rocking.
Tremendous.
Is it close to Waterloo? Maybe John and
It's
I can.
no, and also don't go. Don't give them your money, man.
Don't go. And
Uh
we'll give you credit for it.
it's outside of
Well,
Dubuque, Iowa.
next year when you come to Waterloo to the Hall of Fame out there, the Dan Gable Hall of Fame, July 9th, 10th, and 11th, you can take us out to the cave there because you got the
No,
experience with it.
I'm not taking you to the cave. I will. I'm trying to think of the most interesting thing that you guys could do in Waterloo or near Waterloo. And
You know, the NWA was founded in Waterloo, Iowa.
oh, really?
Yeah, at the Jefferson Hotel there.
Oh, that's cool.
And Dan Gable's YMCA that he started wrestling is right there on the
Yeah,
website.
sure. No, these are fine things. I'm just trying to think what we could do that's fun. And it's not great that I'm from there and I'm like, guys, I got nothing. I don't know what we would do for fun there. They got beer.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do have beer.
yeah. If we're in Waterloo, we could go drink. That's all there is to do in Waterloo.
That's about yeah,
Yeah,
but that's okay.
yeah.
That's all, nothing wrong with that.
No.
No, zero.
Well, hey, Brooks, thank you so much for joining us. We kept you a long time, but it's been so much fun talking to you.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for answering my fan questions, and it was great to know that Brock and like angle thing I've always wondered about. So thanks for filling me in.
Yeah,
100% true.
we want to throw out a thanks to Taylor Williamson who lined us up there, and he said Manuel loved Brooks. He was a wrestler, so that was his introduction to me
Yeah,
by text message. You'll love him because he was a wrestler. So
yeah,
That's right.
he was right. I enjoyed doing research on that. That's a great thing about doing these podcasts. You get to research guys, and I laughed a lot last night, this morning. So
Oh,
thank
that's
you very
awesome.
much.
I really appreciate it, dudes. I'm a big fan lifelong, so it was cool when Taylor hit me up to be like, "Would you want to be on these dudes' podcasts?" I go, "What? Yeah."
Well,
So
thank
yeah,
you. We,
shout out.
we were worried when we found out what your degree was in because we don't think we're smart enough to interview you. So we appreciate you dumbing
Oh,
it down for us.
geez, I was a biomedical engineer for all of 4 years before I got fired. Before they wised
Well,
up to me.
it's a hell of a job to fall back on. You know, if the comedian gig don't work, you got your degree, as they say. As Mom would say, you always have your degree, so make sure you
Yeah,
finish college.
I got a pretty big gap in the resume of what I've been up to.
Yeah, you go for a job, fill out a job. Well, the comedian, 30 years,
Right.
engineer, biomed engineer, 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, dudes, I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you guys again soon. I'll see you in Waterloo.
Yep.
Excellent.